Tomorrow is May 1st, and here in central Wisconsin, Zone 4, the National Weather Service just issued a freeze warning. So what do we do with our gardens? Let me show you what I do. So here in my outdoor garden, right here I have onions planted. Now onions will be fine if it freezes. And in this bed and the end of that one, I've got potatoes. They're under the ground. Well, look at this. They just started poking up. They can get frost damage. So I think, and they just poked up in the last day. So I think I might just throw some mulch over the top of them. That's all you got to do is throw some dirt or mulch or leaves or anything over the top of them. Now over here, my irises are coming up. And I do have some pots of flowers out, but these are violas. Violas will be fine, just like pansies will be fine. Kale will be fine. But as you can see here, I've got some garden fleece down. And underneath this garden fleece is fennel. Here, I have some fennel. So I just I'm not real sure about fennel. So I covered it up. And in this bed, I have lettuces down on this end. They would be fine. But in this end here, I have some kohlrabi. And brassicas are a little fussy when it comes to frost and freezing. Then over here next to Roxy, I have some peas. They will also be fine. I have bunched up some of this mulch to kind of protect the lower roots, but other than that, they should be fine. Everything else that has been growing in the garden, like your perennials, my strawberries, rhubarb, winter sowing, that will be fine. You don't have to worry about that. All that stuff is going to be fine. Now, one of the things you have to realize is where you live. You know, if they tell you it's going to get down to 30, is it really going to get down to 30? Here, if they tell us it's going to get down to 30, it's probably going to be 25 degrees. So one of the things I'm really worried about is the plants in my unheated greenhouse. Let's go take a look. So in my little greenhouse, I have cold weather crops in here. All these will be fine. The greenhouse, because it's covered, will keep things in here warm enough that you shouldn't get any freezing. Remember that the ground in here is warm and everything will radiate heat throughout the night. This greenhouse, on the other hand, this one gets really cold at night. And as you can tell, I have a lot of stuff in here. So I've got some flowers that I went out and purchased because I wanted to make sure I had them. Because after next weekend, if you don't have the annuals you want, they're going to be gone. Pepper plants in here. And then these tomatoes that are going in the garden. I also have, so this morning, the outside thermometer said 30 degrees. The digital thermometer I have in here, which is right over here, this kind of thing, said 34 degrees. And my old-fashioned analog thermometer said it was 55 in here. But this one I have on the ground in the shade, so I can actually tell what kind of temperature it is in here. So that proves to me that the ground is warmer in here. So things that are closer to the ground are going to stay warmer because the ground is warm. I don't think that a 30-degree night is going to harm anything in here. I mean, everything is covered. It's got basically a lid over the top of it. But I am worried about like these hanging baskets. I'll probably take those all down and put them on the floor just to keep them warmer. These plants here, tomato plants and then some petunias that I've left over, these are on a heat mat. See, they're big. It's a 4-foot heat mat. I have this heat mat set to 55 degrees. So that one should be fine. They should all be fine. Now, having said all that, I'm bringing in some insurance tonight. I don't need this in my little greenhouse. That little greenhouse is a trooper. It really is. But this big greenhouse, my greenhouse is 10.5 by 20.5 feet. So we're talking 200 plus square feet. It leaks like a sieve. The thing is impossible to keep warm. It really is. We tried heating it in early spring, and you could not keep it warm. But now the ground isn't frozen in here, and I'm just for peace of mind, because you know, on those cold nights you wake up every 20 minutes and go, oh my gosh, I wonder if my tomatoes are frozen out there. And when you have a YouTube channel that features, you know, tomatoes and a tomato taste testing of different varieties, you kind of want your tomatoes to survive. Tonight, I am going to use this. So this is one of those ceramic heaters. I'm just going to turn it on its lowest setting, and just have it on during the night. I think the lowest setting on this is 50 degrees. So I don't have to worry about it tipping over. I don't have to worry about, like if I would put a propane heater in here, you know, it's got flames in it. I don't want to worry about that. So I'm going to turn this on tonight. Supposedly, this thing heats 1,100 square feet. We'll see. It wasn't able to keep up with this greenhouse in March, for instance. But we'll see if it can keep up, you know, almost May 1st. So that's what I'm going to do. Unheated greenhouse, May 1st, freeze warning. I really hope that, you know, this greenhouse is warm enough to keep everything safe. Because if not, I'm screwed. And we're going to have another video on how to start over after your entire garden is killed by a freeze. But I'm pretty confident that it's not going to freeze, especially if I run that heater, then it's not going to freeze in there. So the long-term weather forecast for the next 8 to 14 days are temps below normal, which means that the nights are going to be getting in the 30s. It's one of the reasons why I always say never, never, never plant your garden before Memorial Day if you're in this zone. And even then, this area is known to have freeze warnings at the beginning of June. So you just never know. My dad always used to tell this story about going to the 4th of July fireworks with a winter coat on. So it can happen. Not very often, but it does happen. So I just kind of want to err on the side of caution. If it looks like temps are going to be dropping into the 20s, I will cover those onions and I will mound up the potato plants that are poking through. But until that happens, I'm really not that worried about it. Okay, I just got up. 6:38. It says it's 32 degrees outside. Temperature in the big greenhouse. 39.7. Temperature in the little greenhouse, 34.3. Let's see how everything did. So everything in here is fine. It's warm in here now. Everything's fine in here. Happy plants. Okay. It's not real warm in here. But everything, even the hanging baskets, survived just fine. Whew. You just never know. And the heater is not going right now, so I'm going to turn it off because we won't need that. So I'm really happy about that. It seemed to do really well. Chances are I probably didn't need that heater. But then again, I was glad I was able to turn it on just for peace of mind. Outside undercover, everything did fine. This is cilantro, by the way. And the fennel did good. And then the lettuces, of course lettuces would be fine. And kohlrabi. And then the last thing is the peas. They did fine. To be honest with you, I thought it was going to be colder than it was last night. I was surprised that it was 30 degrees when I got up. I thought for sure we'd be in the high 20s because they gave us a freeze warning, not a frost warning. So I think we dodged a bullet here. Tonight's supposed to be colder, but I know that I'm all set for tonight. So let me know what you guys do for cold mitigation for the stuff that you have growing in the garden right now. So thanks so much for watching, everybody. And until next time, happy gardening. Bye-bye.